Welcome to this special preview episode of MindShareTV. I'm your host, Robert Martellacci, and chair of the Canadian EdTech Leadership Summit upcoming and the Dragon's Den Startup Competition. I'm thrilled to be joined by Mallory Maynard, who is the founder of Gibbly, an innovative platform that sets to make waves in education. Mallory is pitching at the Dragon's Den competition. And today we're getting a bit of a sneak peek into her journey and what we might expect from her pitch. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, Mallory.
Thank you for having me, Robert. It's a pleasure.
Only 10 days to go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I've been fortunate to have pitched Gibbly a couple times before, so I'm feeling mostly prepared, but it's always a bit nerve-wracking doing it in front of people. So,
well, we had the opportunity to meet at the Serious Play Conference at the University of Toronto, Mississauga. This time we're pivoting across the city to the U of T Scarborough, which we're in a brand new building, state of the art. It's going to be awesome. You are going to be in the Theater of the Round, so be aware of that. That's going to be kind of cool how you're going to pitch, and you're going to be walking the floor in a 360 fashion, with surrounded by 6 LCD massive panels around you. It's going to be an incredible experience, even better than being on CBC's Dragon's Den. Talk to me a little bit about the vision and inspiration for Gibbly, and share with our listeners what inspired you to create the core mission of your platform. Super fascinating and exciting. And if you want to share your screen again, we will do that. Bring it back up.
Sure, absolutely. Let me pull that up here.
Sure. So the dates are October 31st to November 2nd. The theme is navigating the future of education in an AI-inspired world. And I was going to just mention for a moment, why should people think about coming, those who are in education? Talk to me about your why and why it's important to be there, particularly at this juncture in time.
Yeah, I think AI is a really big deal. I think it has the opportunity to make teachers' lives easier, improve learning outcomes. So I'm really excited to come to the event as an EdTech, but I think as teachers, schools, admin from schools, they can learn a lot, see interesting tools. I know some of the other EdTech companies who are planning on coming, so it's not just Gibbly. There's a lot of really innovative tools that are going to be on display. So I think that's why they should consider coming.
Fascinating. Okay, so we're going to do a little test drive, and you're going to actually demonstrate how to simply create a quiz.
Yeah. So do you want me to, I'll just high level explain what we're trying to accomplish.
Sure.
Our goal really at Gibbly is to save teachers time. So, and we're really deliberate on making it so that they can share resources with students really quickly. So one of the main ways that teachers are using Gibbly today is if they want to gamify their classroom, they can really simply find a YouTube video. So we were talking about Nokia earlier. So the history of Nokia, they can find a YouTube video that teaches that. They can just copy the URL. They can paste it into Gibbly, and in about 60 seconds or less, it'll generate some questions based on the video. And then they just have to review the questions, and then they can immediately drop into a hosted multiplayer game where they can play with their students in maybe 5 minutes or less from start to finish.
Truly impressive. And you nailed a very important pain point for teachers, and that being time. The most precious thing we have in our lives. And I often host groups of high school students in our cool and innovative workspace here in Air Mills Town Center called the Mindshare Workspace. We have a number of co-op students with us. We have 4 this term, and we'll have more next term as well. And I asked that important question about time. Why, what is the most important thing in your life? It's actually time, to make good use of your time, to have the ability to make an impact. And that is part of your passion. Now, you could have been selling insurance, being in the finance business, where things are clearly understood. Instead, you chose to go into something very complex, teaching and learning with technology.
Yes. I mean, I'm really passionate about education. This is why I got into this. I actually was working in insurance, and they kept asking me to teach others. So in my last session, I think I had 150 of my colleagues that I was teaching them Excel. And I was like, why don't I just actually get into education? Clearly, this is something I'm interested in. So this is kind of how this was the origin story of me starting my path into education.
That is so cool. Now, are you going to actually create the quiz?
Yeah, so we have this quiz.
Okay.
It has a couple of questions. The teachers can review the ones they like, remove the ones they don't.
Right.
And then we'll add this to the quiz, where normally the teachers would take some time reviewing these, obviously. But now we have this quiz, and they can edit them as they see fit, and then we can immediately drop into a multiplayer game. So you want to play real quick, or maybe not? It's probably not enough
well,
time.
In the interest of time for our viewers, if you know what the original core business of Nokia is and put it in a comment, you can win a free pass to the Canadian EdTech Summit. But don't be Googling. You need to share, like right now, what is the original core business of Nokia? And the answer is, drum roll.
What we say?
Rubber boots. Who would have thought Nokia's original core business was rubber boots? And it speaks to innovation and what you're doing in education, because you start down a path and you think you know what the solution is you're going to offer, and not having a fixed mindset and being agile in your business strategy. Talk to me a little bit about what that's been like.
About being agile in my business strategy?
Yeah, and adapting your vision.
So in the early days, generative AI wasn't as commercially available as it is today. So in the early days, our goal was actually just to empower teachers to create collaborative review games really quickly. And then before we even wrote our first line of code, OpenAI released their API, and it just changed dramatically. What we now saw, there was an opportunity to support teachers that just wasn't possible before. So that was a major pivot for us. We are still building gamified learning experiences, but now at our fingertips, we can find ways that can meaningfully, dramatically improve teachers' lives.
Very cool. So on that note, can you show us, I presume you can share these quizzes that you create. You showed how simple it is to create, and then your interface has a whole host of different quizzes, I guess.
Yeah. So they can discover existing quizzes created by the community. So we have a whole community generated library with their own quizzes. So I'll just jump back into the quiz we just created.
Sure.
They can download it to PDF and share it as like a printed worksheet. They can assign it to a class so that the students can do asynchronous learning in their own time. And then something that we recently added over the summer, or I shouldn't say recently added, but we added the ability to export to Canvas. And that's been a real game changer for
Brilliant, because last week I interviewed the Canvas representative speaking at the conference, and we had the highest open rate of any of our reports in the past, because Canvas is actually the #1 most used app in the world in education.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so, I had no idea.
So you're on point.
Yeah. We actually added this because one of the schools we're piloting with really wanted it. So we added it for them, and I didn't realize there's so many in our community that have Canvas as their LMS.
There are, a lot. And my first experience in learning about Canva was South by Southwest, EDU. Guy Kawasaki, former Apple evangelist, was presenting. I interviewed him, and he was their ambassador. And this was about 8 years ago now. And fast forward to today, The two founders, I think they're both female, very young, 30-ish, multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
So not that it's about money, but sky's the limit for Gibbly.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
So share with us that interface and how you can explore the different options or the community.
Sure. So the main two places where teachers hang out is either in they can discover content like I mentioned here, or they can create their own materials. We found that because generative AI is so quick, many times they're just creating content from scratch. So
Mhm.
another way that's pretty common is they can, if they have an existing lesson, they can upload that lesson here and create a quiz based on the already existing content they have. We
Brilliant.
also have added some of the Ontario curriculum. We're working on adding other curriculum as well, but they can actually click the curriculum that they want to align to, and it'll create quizzes based on that curriculum. So that's been pretty exciting addition. Where we've had a lot of requests to add Alberta, and we have a couple of schools in Mexico using the product. So we're going to be adding the Mexico curriculum soon,
Brilliant.
as well as some of the American curricula. And then the other thing that teachers can do is create a lesson presentation. So we can just do that now. Click on here.
Okay.
And it's as simple as adding in a topic, and then it comes up with a draft presentation for them.
Okay.
So what do you want to build a lesson on?
How about rockets? There's a lot of talk about space, something around space. How about that?
Okay, so maybe like
How
the
about
history.
getting those astronauts off the space shuttle or the space station that are stuck
Hmm.
there?
I
Something around
don't
that.
think that the model is trained into the news
Not
that is
that
that
granular,
frequent.
but something around space or
Yeah.
the solar system.
Well, we can talk about space in the
Yeah.
solar system. Sure.
Right.
So it'll come up with a what grade do you want to do it for? Maybe grade 6 or 7?
6. Yeah.
Yeah. So they just have to put in a topic and a grade level, and they can click on that, and it'll come up with a lesson thumbnail for them. And in the meantime, we'll just click on this, and it'll create a lesson plan. It comes up with an overview for them, some learning objectives that they should consider covering, what the lesson could cover if they should give them some ideas, and then some suggested vocabulary and terms. And
And
so as we can see
assessment
here,
as well.
so not directly on this page, but if they export it, they can upload it back to the quiz generator, and it'll
Okay.
create content on the lesson that they just
This
created.
is pretty brilliant. I absolutely love it. I mean, how instant was that?
Well, that's
And
just step 1. So then we can click on slides, and it takes all of that content, and it'll
yeah,
generate a draft presentation for them
there's
that they
even
can
more. Like
there's
this
more.
is
Yeah, they can export it to PowerPoint, they can add it to their Google Drive, or they can present
Canva.
it right within the platform. Not Canva yet, but
Canva
it's on the list of
coming
things.
soon.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. It's incredible how instantly you did that. Is that would normally take a teacher probably an hour in preparation in the past. So you solving real pain points is kudos to you for your paying attention and identifying this challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of my day talking to teachers. Like I place a lot of value in what kind of struggles
That's
they're
so
facing within the
important.
classroom.
And there's a lesson there. You can love your product and what you're doing and be passionate about it, which I've seen some founders get so passionate that they don't listen. And that doesn't go well.
Yeah,
You
I'm
spin
always
your
listening.
wheels. You spin your wheels because the smartest person in the room is
Someone else.
the
Always.
room
Yeah.
is the expression. So what has the feedback been like?
It's been really great. So we have we're almost at 20,000 teachers using the platform. A
In
lot of
how
that is
long? In how
organic.
long?
Um Realistically, we probably didn't start to see growth until maybe January of this year. So a lot of
Incredible.
that is this year. Yeah. And and it's been positive. Like, I mean, we have a lot of really great testimonials. I had like a case study I wrote down. I received emails, which is like the best part of my day. I received an email from a teacher a few days ago saying that we took a task that normally takes them 15 minutes down to 3 or 4. So that's a
Very
huge amount of
cool.
time savings at scale.
Well,
So
because they
I'm
get to spend more time with the students, presumably, and
yeah.
that's, or their families for that matter. Because when you extrapolate that and multiply it by the number of students that are in a class, that's a lot of time, right? And to be able to give back time to teachers is very powerful message. And so, in terms of piloting for the teachers who are online, watching, listening, how might they go about getting involved? Is there a paid pilot, free pilot? What's your model for onboarding teachers?
Yeah, so we have a couple of ways we do this. Teachers can sign up for their own free account, and it comes with the free plan. They still get some AI tokens per month to generate
Okay,
stuff. They get started though with a 7-day trial of premium, so that they can
okay,
create as many
and
quizzes
that's
and
free.
lessons as they
Seven
want. It's
days is
free
free.
for 7 days.
Nice.
We also have formal school pilots, though, where we onboard a lot of teachers at once, and then we can run professional development. Because what we found is that a lot of schools have like a small portion that are really like the go-getters who are trying to spread the message of AI. And it's helpful to do the professional development with teachers so that they all feel confident using it and can see the value of time savings for them.
Absolutely. On that point, where are teachers at right now when it comes to the classroom and this whole frenzy around AI? Um, some districts are waiting for the guiding principles. The IT director's waiting for the guiding principles from superintendent's office, and others are way further ahead. What's your experience been like? You know, feet on the street, boots in the classroom, on the ground, and what are teachers feeling? How are students doing?
It's such a mixed bag. I don't know. Like uh like, for example, one of the pilots that we did a kickoff 2 weeks ago. Normally when I run a pilot, I kind of go in assuming that no one has used it before I do the kickoff session. But they like 10 of them had already used it meaningfully, so I could kind of
Wow,
advance my training for them, and they had learned some stuff that I didn't even know was possible with our platform. But they're kind of an exception, not the rule. So a lot of
right.
them, feel still kind of nervous about it. It's really polar opposite sides of the spectrum.
Fascinating. So you are going to be at center court right here.
Yeah. Actually, I think that person's wearing an orange shirt too. So.
That's Dr. Steve Jordan's. Yeah, if you give him a shirt, he might wear it.
Yeah.
He's always into, educators like, they like merch. Free merch is always good. We're giving away shirts as well at the summit, along with uh, qualifying to win a book of the keynoter, Alana Winnick, who wrote the generative book on AI in education. And she's got some great case studies from the US on how they've strategically implemented AI across the district. And part of the journey is demystifying AI, having a superintendent symposium with all the key stakeholders, bringing people together, demonstrating some simple uses like your use case. I mean, that's brilliant. It really demonstrates the power of harnessing AI. And so kudos to you for your leadership in what you've done to date. And this is a journey that's been quite quick to get actually to market, which is impressive. How have you achieved that? Like, you sleep at all, or like,
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do sleep. I don't know how we did it. I think it's just that there's just been a lot of really good organic word of mouth, and I listen to teachers. Like we build stuff
Right.
intentionally to support specific use cases. So I have to think that that's a large part of why we've moved quickly.
Well, kudos to you, TMU graduate, great
Yes.
school.
Yes, it is.
And
I was there actually last week presenting an alumni award for one of my peers. So
oh, cool. Dr.
Yeah.
Lachemi has been to the workspace here. He lives down the street. We partnered with him with C21 in the past. Great
amazing.
man, great visionary. This is your event, Dragons, the 9th edition of the Dragons Den. And we've had some quite successful companies, like one I'll point to is Paper Learning, and one in 2015. And within 7 years, they became a unicorn worth over $1 billion. And then things changed a little bit after that, ESSER funding and the post-pandemic. But you are in a position to thrive like they did, and you're doing all the right things in my books. And so pleased to spend time with you this afternoon. Mallory, any final thoughts to share before we wrap up this conversation and let you get back to business?
I think my last final thought is if you're one of the educators or schools that hasn't kind of dabbled with AI, now is the time to give it a try and just be confident. You're not going to break anything. Just try it out and see how it works for you.
Well said. That had a bit of a rhyme in it. I'm impressed.
Unintentional, but I'm glad.
Thank you again, Mallory Maynard, the founder of Gibbly. That's it for today's episode of MindShareTV. Don't forget, the Canadian EdTech Summit is only 9 days away. And if you want to catch Mallory in action, be sure to check out www.mindsharelearning.com to get your latest issue of the Mindshare Report and register for the 15th Canadian EdTech Summit. First time back in Toronto in 5 years, in a brand new state-of-the-art facility at the University of Toronto, Scarborough. My name is Robert Martellacci of the Mindshare Learning Report. Be sure to check out www again, Mindshare Learning, to learn more. And until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve